But I wanted to go ahead and kick this off. And this is our mini career chat on human resources. And we are fortunate to have 3 center alums joining us. We have Jessica Polfer, and she is Talent Acquisitions Manager at Colony Brands. And then we also have Shawn Estep, and he is the Assistant Director of Human Resources at the Kentucky Department of Parks. And we also have Kelli McKinney Rhodes, and she is Training Administrator at Louisville MSD. And I'll let her describe what MSD is. But does anybody have a preference on who wants to go? The way this works, each will talk a little bit about your current position and tips you would have for somebody wanting to get into the human resources field. Anybody want to volunteer, or do you want me to just pick somebody?
I'm happy to go first.
Okay, we got a volunteer.
Will you time me? Because I don't want to talk too long because I talk for a living. So time me and cut me. Just give me the.
Okay. I'll send you a message. I'll send you a message in the chat because we do want to be aware of time. Just
start waving at me and going like this, and I'll be fine with that. Hi. Okay. Hi, everybody. Okay, so I'm thrilled to be here. I love my work. My journey has been eclectic. I was like, when I saw this was on my schedule today, I was like, oh heavens, what have I even done? I don't know. My journey has been eclectic to get here. I love HR. I love training. So I graduated from Center in '89. Oh, I love Center. When I'm back, I went back for my 30, and it was like being home again. I just love Center. Center speaks to me. And I'm still really tight with a lot of people from there. But HR work, so I didn't start in HR at all. I started in hardcore sales. I sold space, conference space. So if you can sell an 8x10 on the floor where there's nothing there, you can sell anything. So I started with show management with conventions and trade shows nationally when I graduated from Center, because I was going to go to law school, and I went and worked for an attorney for a few weeks, and I hated it. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. So I went and sold space for a little bit. And I actually pulled up my resume because I was like, oh, heavens, what did I do? I have worked at the Louisville Zoo as a volunteer coordinator. I've worked at the Humane Society. I've worked a lot of nonprofit. I just kind of actually fell into training and development a couple of decades ago. A job opened up, and they told me it was 40 hours a week. It was no weekends. And I'm like, that's insane. I've never heard of such. Do jobs like that exist? So I applied, I got it. I was home. It was my home. I love training and development. I did that for a long time. And then I had an opportunity I couldn't refuse to move into hardcore HR. And I served for Louisville Metro Government, an organization of 6,000 plus, as the talent administrator. And so I led 2 different teams. I led the hiring team for all of Metro Government, except for your civil service positions, as well as what we call CNC class and comp if you're in HR. And so, which I know this sounds like a lot of jargon. So it's basically how much money you're going to get, and it is what's your job description, and it's I'm going to lay you off today because they're getting reorged. It's the hardcore, and I went in there and I knocked that out of the park at Metro for several years. And then something came back up in my passion, and I called my husband and I was like, should I apply for this job? I thought I was going to retire in hardcore HR. And he's like, apply for the job. It's MSD. And so Louisville MSD, when you think about us, we're here to protect you. So we protect you from anything that falls from the heavens, the storm waters. We protect you from anything that may come down the river or that may flood in the city, so the flood waters. So storm water, any kind of wastewater. So we have different core services, but we're here for your health and safety. And I just love it, you all. I am so over the moon happy. I have 2 different training teams. I have a team of equipment trainers that work with our employees, and it's like it's a boutique. There's only 600 people, so I went from 6,000 to 600, and it's just training. Oh, it's so sweet. I love it. I love MSD. I just passed my 3-year mark there. I've been in the system. That's how we say it, Shawn, isn't it? I've been in the system since 2005, I guess. I've been in the system, but just MSD since 3 years ago. And so my equipment trainers, they train our employees on how to run any equipment. So like how to get your commercial driver's license, your CDL, how to run a genie lift, a backhoe, forklift, whatever. They don't let me touch any equipment. They still won't let me. And then my other team, they teach operators that work for us how to clean water. So they're wastewater trainers. So I have equipment trainers and wastewater trainers, and I'm hoping to add an e-learning position because of the pivoting that we're all doing. An e-learning position, because right now I've got a wastewater trainer who's designing a lot of e-learning, and she's phenomenal, but I really need another slide. So we have we're pivoting like everybody is. We're, obviously I'm in my home office, I guess we can call it, with all my jewelry behind me. But I do a blended approach. Some days I'm boots on the ground. Some days, like tomorrow, I'm at one of our largest facilities, boots on the ground all day long. And then sometimes I'm at home. But that's where I am now. But I've been nonprofit. I've been hardcore HR. I've sold space. I've sold roundbill. I've sold a lot of different things. And I'm just honored to be here. Is that too long? Is that does that help?
That's good.
No,
that's good. And we'll have it at the end. They can ask questions. So we can get more specific.
Okay.
Jessica, would you like to?
Sure. All right. So my name is Jessica Polfer. I am the Talent Acquisition Manager for Colony Brands. So Colony, we average about 4,500 employees throughout the year. We've got over 7,000 right now because we are in retail, and it's peak season for any retailer right now. And especially we're in e-commerce and catalog development, so and sales. So we hire a lot of extra part-time people the fourth quarter of the year. Colony is made up of 22 different companies, subsidiaries, affiliates, brands. So one of my favorite parts of my job is getting to work with a lot of different types of people in different roles. I think that's one of the neatest aspects of HR. And particularly with Colony Brands, I'm working with everybody from pilots to food scientists to merchandisers and apparel designers. So it's very cool that way. I graduated from Center in 2003 and with a degree in history and a minor in government. I took the classes that I enjoyed because I was planning to go to law school. I went to law school at Marquette. Kelly's laughing. I feel a lot of HR people kind of started that way, or compliance is important, but we're also a little too, I don't want to say heavy. It's a great skill. I love being around people, talking to people. I didn't want to be, in my books doing research all day. So I think that's a requirement if you're going to work in human resources is that desire to interact with all different kinds of people. And so while I was at Marquette, I was actually recruited by GE, their consumer finance division. And my first foray into HR was auditing hiring practices for people that were HR managers, for the teams. GE does a lot of self-auditing. They're a large enough company. They've got big pockets, so they're a target for lawsuits and for others. So they do a lot to ensure that they are following best practices. And that was my first job, and I tell people it was baptism by fire. It was great. I loved it, but it's if you're fresh out of school and you're going to tell people how they could do their jobs better and audit them, they're not always super happy to see you, right? But it was a great role. I learned a lot and actually made a lot of friends and lifelong friends through that time. So now I've been about 15 years in human resources. In my role today, I focus on talent acquisition, and that means I'm responsible for recruitment. I'm also responsible for all of our talent development programs. So that includes our internship program, our co-op. We have a career, and those are focused on college level students. So over 100 plus students that we hire each year. Then we also have career exploration and career expo programs for high school age students. We work with, this past year is over 800 different students from different high schools for that. I also head up our corporate branding. So anything that goes on that's not brand specific for something consumer driven. So anything that comes back to corporate, I oversee our social pages for that and our websites, and then also our diversity and inclusion efforts and measuring those, but also ensuring that it's part of the culture and not just a process or check the box initiative. So that's my role today, and I think a little background on how I got here.
Thank you, Jessica. Shawn?
Can everybody hear me?
We can.
Okay. I'm not used to Zoom as I am Microsoft Teams. My name is Shawn Estep, the Assistant Director of Human Resources, Kentucky Department of Parks. I'm working on my 27th year in state government. I'm a 1992 grad of Central College. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my bachelor's degree in history. I minored in government like Jessica did, and parlayed that into pursuing and obtaining a Master's of Arts from Eastern. Thought I might teach at one point, maybe possibly go to doctoral school, but I parlayed all that into a job on the assembly line at Lexmark for about 3 or 4 months, making computers that go into printers. If you ever had the parts that the paper gets jammed in, that's what I worked on. So then I board in state government as an archivist one. Dealt with a lot of little historical records in a place called Military Records and Research Branch. After about 4 years there, I applied for a job with the Transportation Cabinet in their Human Resources Division. And it was kind of sold to me as, how would you like to drive around in an undercover vehicle and follow people around and videotape them all day long? So that's, a lot of people tell me I'm on the dark side of HR. I don't see it that way because I'm saving the taxpayers a lot of money and have over the course of my career. So I've worked my way up from an administrative specialist, basically, to being detailed to the director for 2 years. And now I'm back to the assistant director because I'm still in merit status and closing in on, I'm 40, I'll be just turned 50 and I can retire if I want to. So that's a nice feeling to have. I'm a tier 1 employee, which means I'm still under the old retirement system. But I went to work for transportation, about 7 or 8 years in their HR office, and then about 2 years in their inspector general's office, and then went to work in HR for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services for 10 years, where I became branch manager of the disciplinary actions and employee relations branch. From there, I had a 2.5 or 3 hour interview with the executive director of HR for the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet about 4 years ago. And my wife was so concerned about me, she called and wanted to know what was taking so long. And I said, well, we were just talking. And it's kind of one of them things, left the interview, you knew you wanted the job. Working for parks is incredible. There are 45 state parks, resorts, recreational parks, and historic sites throughout the Commonwealth. You could probably stand foot anywhere in this state and be 45 to 50 miles from one of them. We have a lot of people throughout the Commonwealth who have been with us for long periods of time because those parks are their home and they're tied to the communities. And in some cases, our resorts are economic engines that help drive tourism throughout that little area. I've had the pleasure in my career of riding shotgun with the Attorney General's office, the United States Secret Service, the Executive Branch Ethics Commission in state government. I never had a clue what I wanted to do when I left center, other than I loved history and I loved research. I like talking to people and dealing with people. And it's just all kind of worked itself out. I'm the first person in my family that ever graduated college. I'm the son of a coal miner, and it was kind of driven in my head by my parents. You've got opportunities we never had. You need to leave Eastern Kentucky, unfortunately, at the time, because most of the jobs in my little hometown were all tied to the coal industry. I love what I do. So I've been lucky and fortunate and blessed for 27 years now to pretty much get up in the morning and go do something that I like doing. And when you do that, it's not work. And, you know, that's something that you really can't put a price on, regardless of the paycheck. But I've been fortunate. State government is a stable employer. There's a lot of things that, sometimes the pay's not all that great for a lot of people we hire for different jobs. But right now, look at how things are economically with the economy. But we have stable employment, as I'm sure Kelli will tell you, with MSD and local governments too. There's a lot of benefits that we have, intangible benefits that people don't think about, whether they're little things from discounts on travel and merchandise to adoption benefits, for people that may be interested in adopting kids, along with paid sick leave, paid annual leave, chance for overtime, compensatory time. So I encourage anybody that's interested, not just parks, but anywhere in state government, because I've worked in 4 different agencies in my career. And there's a lot of good people that work for the state. And I've had fortune to run into a lot of people connected with Center. My inspector general boss was David Ray, who's a Center grad, who was head of the U.S. Secret Service at one time in Kentucky. And I've met a lot of friends. I have a lot of, former fraternity brothers that are still tied into state government here in Frankfort. And, but anybody's interested in applying any job in state government, personnel.ky.gov. It's really simple, easy. You can get on there. But I miss Center. I miss Center the way it was back then, I guess. I've been back to one homecoming, and going from a fraternity house of 24 to 6 is not necessarily my cup of tea, but hey, but I would encourage anybody, reach out to people that are from Center if you know anybody, and try to have them help you, mentor you, anything that help you get your foot in the door, because a lot of places that first step is the hardest step you'll have. So, and I'm sure the other 2 ladies on here probably would agree with me on that.
Well, and I'm going to do a quick plug. We have something called a Career Mentor Network. It's a platform we use, and you'll probably each get an email on that if you're interested in being a part of that. And it's really just a way for students to connect with alumni, however you're comfortable, just giving informational interviews or general career advice. So just a heads up that we will send that about our Career Mentor Network, because as you say, using that, what's the term, the Center Mafia, that over and over again, I hear people talk about how that's one of the best parts of Center. So, well, do the students with us have any questions? I wanted to open it up for that real quickly first.
Yeah, I want to hear about them. I want to hear them.
Yes, I have a question. So my name's Sienna Joseph. I'm a sophomore at Center. And I guess my first question is kind of, when I think of HR, I just don't quite know, because I think there's lots of different things about it, but I just think of someone you report to when someone gets in trouble. But it seems like there's more different than that, I guess. I mean, you guys kind of have explained it, but could you just go, maybe a little bit more in depth of just maybe a overall definition and kind of what different tracks there are? Because I'm just so naive. I just don't know about it.
Well, and I think even people that have been in business a long time, Sienna, they look at HR sometimes depending on the HR partner that they've had, and the person is that compliance person that's there to slap you on the wrist when somebody doesn't follow the rules, right? And I think that's old school mentality, older than any of us on the phone in most organizations. The goal of human resources is really to take all of the people and ensure that they're aligned with organizational strategy, right? From recruitment all the way through training, development, to the benefits to take care of those people and everything. So in every department, based on the company, state or if it's corporate or nonprofit, it's going to be a little bit different. But like our human resources department, so we have people focused on our temporary seasonal recruitment. On full-time, we have a training and development team. We have an organizational development. So OD as part of HR is built around ensuring that the organization is ready and prepared for the moves that it's going to make strategically, and that the people are in the right spots to support that. And then we also have community relations as part of human resources at my team, so safety, and then benefits, and then we have a whole wellness team too. Wellness is for larger employers a big part of benefits and tends to fall under the HR umbrella. So for us, that includes everything from an exercise physiologist to which somebody wouldn't think of, right, as being part of the HR team, but everything from that to our benefits technician that's walking through our retirement plans and our pension and things like that. And then we have an HRIS division, so that's all the IT aspects of HR. So some people, typically that role, they seem to start out on the IT side and then move into HR is what I've seen. There are a few people that start in HR and grow into that. So hopefully that helps. I don't know if Kelly or Shawn have anything to add.
Yeah, along the lines of what you're saying, for example, my division has safety and health. So we have people who are, interested in trying to make sure that our facilities are safe, not only for our employees. State government referred to, we are the people who serve the people that serve the people, if that makes sense. And business, we are trying to be business partners for all the agents, different agents roles. I'll give you an example. HFS, they deal a lot with benefits programs, SNAP assistance programs, so forth. And so they even have people in their HR division who are bilingual so that they can be interpreters for people who need to interpret between the client and the worker to help those people get their benefits. So, I mean, HR is not just compliance. Everything from payroll and processing to, you have somebody, an insurance coordinator, you have an EEO coordinator, you have Americans with Disability Act coordinator, lots of times, different things like that, insurance, workers' comp, training. I mean, there's so much that falls under that umbrella, more than just compliance, your basic payroll and processing.
I would say compliance is a very small part of our day-to-day in the work in HR today.
Yeah, I agree with everything everybody said. Sienna, the way I think about it is we're here to help and take care of the employee. So it could be anything from revising the job description you have to you or someone that you're in a relationship with is having a baby and you need some paperwork or some forms to fill out. So it's taking care of the employee. And you're absolutely right that we fight an uphill battle in that sometimes we have to tell people things that maybe they don't want to hear. And it can be difficult at times for people to hear things that they don't want to hear, especially as they move up the food chain. And that being said, that's why we're here to help, and we're here to inform the process and make sure that we all move forward in a way that is in keeping with regulatory, compliance, laws. We're here to protect the workforce and take care of them. And I, too, had no clue what I was going to be doing. And Shawn, I'm with you. I was there in the 80s at Center, so I had no clue what I was doing. And when I left, and it's a windy road, and just enjoy it. Enjoy every minute of it, because I know how stressful it can be when you're in school and you're thinking, what am I going to do to make money? Because I'm the first person in my family that ever went to college. I'm the first person in my family a female that ever had a job outside of the home. They worked hard because I live on a farm. But so I get it. I had no knowledge of college. I had no knowledge of going to work. And I was like, I got to grow up and get an education and get a job. So I get how scary it is when you're making that, thinking about that transition in a few years. But just enjoy the ride and try to have some fun, because it goes by like that. And stick with, go ahead.
Oh, no, finish up, Kelly. Sorry.
No, I was just saying what we were saying earlier about, and reach out to Center people, because there's a whole handful of recent students that I've been talking with. Alcina, I don't know, Kirk, if you know Alcina, but y'all connected me with Alcina, and we talk all the time. And there's some here in Oldham County that I talk with, and sometimes you can help them find a job, sometimes you can't. You might be able to connect them with somebody. But yeah, definitely stick close. Try to stay close.
Yeah, sometimes I give students lists. I can do that from the alumni office by a field. So probably I gave somebody a list of alums and human resources. So you utilize that too. I mean, the worst that people can do is ignore you. And most center alums won't. I find they tend to be pretty helpful if they can be. So
yeah, use all your resources. I saw a stat recently, and I think it was through Career Builder, and I said and just the three of us and finding your career different ways, it's only 27% of working adults in roles that require degrees today are in a job that directly relates to their position. So like medical and a doctor, right? Or an attorney, like you have to go to law school to be a lawyer. But, and that's even including that number. So almost 3/4 of people work in a field that is not directly tied to your degree. So, and I think that can be really daunting. I remember at that age, like something you want to do for the rest of my life. Well, that's, you know, if people change, right? Or roles change. So I think the biggest advice that I can give people is to do your best at every intersection that you're at in your degree, in your role, in every job, because you don't know where it's going to lead. But, and then keep your options open. And the best way to do that is by doing your best at each one of those steps, because so many roles and opportunities are going to pop up that you're not even aware of now, and so many jobs. And I think even the jobs themselves, how they change, how human resources has changed from what it was from the time I first started in it, or even, you know, some of the positions I recruit for, like a social media specialist, that wasn't on the horizon when I, you know, 15 years ago, that wasn't a job to go do that. And the big power players in that field today weren't in that space at all, not that long ago. So that's the thing I would say is to do your best so you can keep those doors open, but to keep your options open, because you don't know where it's going to lead. And there's so many, like thousands of jobs out there that you're not thinking of, or any of us are, that can be really great fits to find what makes you happy, to go to, like Shawn said, to go to work, right? And want to go to work every day is important.
We're almost out of time here. Any final questions?
No, thank you. Those definitely helped me out and answered my questions. One thing I was just thinking about, I mean, you guys kind of touched on it, but, you know, maybe what type of things on a resume would help translate, you know, just to get the eye to translate so you can get into that interview process to say that I might be a good role for this HR position.
Some leadership experience, so working and interacting with people. So Shawn mentioned his fraternity. I was in a sorority. I was president of my sorority of 80 Pi when I was on campus. That's a great lesson in personnel relations, right? And getting people to work together for a common cause, whatever that may be. And so any type of leadership role that you can do with different events is going to be super helpful. And with your resume, the other thing I would say is most of us, when I get resumes, I'm spending less than 30 seconds looking at them initially, and then I go back, if that, right? It's quick. So, but I can tell you, like, mistakes and things like that, or poor form, they jump out right away and they go into the no profile. So remember, those resumes, even though it seems like, you know, you're much bigger than that, that's a reflection of you. And so put your best foot forward and make sure that it's good, and have multiple people look at it. And then everything that you put on there, phrase in terms of accomplishments, or quantify where you can. So if there are numbers, or a lot of roles when we're in high school and college are customer service roles, right? That people will say, well, I bussed tables or waited, right? Those are the to-dos. But what did you do? Like you ensured customers were happy or taken care of in these roles. So quantify everything you can, like from what you accomplished through that. And almost any job you can do that, right? Not just the to-dos. So those are a few of the things I would say. But as far as experiences, get whatever leadership experience you can if you want to work in HR, and then making sure that your resume is the best reflection of you that it can be.
Okay. Well, I think we're almost out of time. Thank you, guys. Oh, this was great information. A lot of variety that I think was well served for the students. So we appreciate your time, and stay safe out there.
That was fun. Take care. Emily and Sienna, good luck with the rest of your semester.
Yeah.
Good luck, everybody.
Okay, take care.
Thanks.
Hey, Shawn. Can you still hear me, Shawn?
Yes.
Leave it up for
Before
just
you
a second.
go, I wanted to tell you my husband just retired from Metro, and he just took a job with the state. He's the new health director up in Oldham County. He was with Metro Health. Your name is so familiar to me. I'm sure I know you. Okay, I know we got to go. Okay, bye.
Okay. Take care.